Hello, Bible readers. It is Tuesday, October 20th. We're reading from Luke chapter 16 and from Joshua chapters 13, 14, and 15. In Luke, a turn happens from controversies with the Pharisees to teaching followers. We'll see Jesus do this throughout this section, where he's picking on the Pharisees and then he's teaching his followers, and kind of a back and forth. And so sometimes we can lose track of who is the audience. Is Jesus correcting, or is Jesus teaching? In this case, in chapter 16, Jesus is talking about lesser versus greater. A lesser reality, according to Jesus, is a reality that is centered around possessions, stuff, mammon. A greater reality, a more true reality, is our place in the presence of God. And it's pretty hard to do both. You can't have a reality that centers around possessions and a reality that centers around God. 21st century people like to think we can compartmentalize. I can believe all this and this and this over here, but then once I go to work, I don't. Scripture is saying, Jesus is saying, we are who we are. Clinging to possessions, if that's what you do in your off time, that's what you do in your all the time. And so clinging to possessions is dangerous, is what Luke is trying to say. And so use your possessions. Use them in service to God. Instead of them using you, you use the stuff that you have. The point of chapter 16, the Pharisees, they're pretending to have a certain level of righteousness because of how pious they are. They are really good at keeping the law. And so they use how good they are at keeping the law to justify themselves. What they don't get is that the law isn't to pump up their own reputation. The law is not meant for their self. The law is meant for their neighbor. I wonder if we could try to keep remembering that too. The law is given not so that they can somehow check off all the boxes and say, oh, I'm a good person, you're a bad person. Instead, the law is so that I show compassion, grace, love, and mercy to you. So it's a parable that rejects self-inflation. In Joshua, we're into a new section. The first 12 chapters are all about the destruction of the land that Joshua has been led into. And now that the destruction is over, now we're in for the redistribution of the land. And how we see that happen, of course, is by lot. Inheritance by lot. Of course, this is where you get the word lottery. Lottery. God's sovereignty is what a lot system of inheritance shows. Like, people would ascribe, oh, I drew the short lot, you drew the long lot, you get that beautiful piece of land, I get this less beautiful piece of land. But I guess God's in charge here. And so this is how God's sovereignty is chosen, which gets at a theme that goes throughout Scripture that is mysterious. And that is the idea of election. Who are God's elect? Why do some people get chosen for this or that while others do not? Why do some draw that lot and others draw that lot? Why are the people of Israel the chosen people? There's really no reason ever given. Why were you baptized? Why was I? There are many who aren't. Not even half the planet are Christian. Why are we? All of these questions of God's elect are questions that have no simple answers. There's no reasons given in Joshua or really anywhere else. But it's just another thing to mull over and to keep considering. Finally, you get all this detail about Judah, by the way, and how it's settled, because it's assumed that the author is from Judah, and so gives it special attention. The author wants to show how organized and competently divided up it was even from the beginning. So as much as the author of Joshua wants to, show how dumb and incompetent and disorganized their enemies were, the author also wants to show how Judah, boy, they had it going on right away. I am one with my God. My God is with us, all of us, at all times and in all places.